Did you know that something like 80% of millionaires are actually self-made?
Yeah. It's a wild stat, right?
It is. It
Yeah.
really makes you think, like, what's going on there? It can't just be, you know,
Right.
luck or,
Yeah.
happenstance or something. There's got to be something deeper going on.
Yeah, definitely deeper than just like
Yeah.
the pure numbers. Yeah.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everybody, where today we are going to be talking about the hidden psychology of wealth.
Ooh.
Specifically, how your mindset can actually, really shape your financial success.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff.
It is, and we've got some really cool insights from how millionaires think. And the really cool thing about all this is that understanding this stuff, it's not just for,
Right.
the super rich or whatever.
Right.
This is something that can offer actionable steps for literally anyone
Yeah,
who is looking to improve their financial outlook and spot opportunities as they come up.
exactly.
Mhm.
And one of the big things that we're going to be looking at today is this whole idea of like a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset.
I'm really fascinated to get into that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that'll be really cool.
Me too. I mean, one of the things that's been really fascinating to me kind of prepping for this and kind of looking at all this material is it's like, yeah, knowing about finances and knowing about, the markets and stuff.
Right.
That's useful and it's important. But our sources are kind of pointing to something even more fundamental.
Oh, wow.
It's like this internal perspective that you have.
Okay.
It's not even just about like, okay, how do I become a millionaire?
Right.
It's more like, how is my thinking influencing my financial well-being
Oh, that's interesting.
on like a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
And, my ability to even see when an opportunity is coming my way.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're going to dig into today.
I'm so excited. So let's break it down a little bit.
Yeah.
This whole scarcity versus abundance. Can you kind of paint a picture for us of how these two different mindsets approach a financial situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're talking about a scarcity mindset, the first thing to understand is that it's really driven by this feeling of not enough.
Okay.
Not
Not enough.
not enough money, not enough chances, not enough resources to go around.
Yeah.
And so someone who's operating from this perspective, they might be like really hesitant
Right.
to take risks,
They're very risk averse.
super risk averse, even if it's a calculated risk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
They're more focused on what they could lose
Right.
than what they could potentially gain.
Got it.
And you often see this manifest in a way where they kind of like cling to things really tightly,
Oh, that's interesting.
instead of seeing how those resources could potentially grow
Interesting.
if they were to, maybe invest them or do something else with them.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah. And you can even think about it in terms of someone's career.
Yeah.
Like imagine someone who is constantly worried about losing their job,
Right.
even if they're actually performing really well.
Yeah.
That fear, that anxiety, it can actually prevent them from going after new opportunities
Oh.
or even just like negotiating a better salary,
That's a really good point.
because they're so afraid of like rocking the boat and potentially losing what they have.
Yeah. It's almost like they're playing defense all the time.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like always on the defensive.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a great picture of scarcity. What does abundance look like?
Abundance is way more fun.
Yeah.
It's coming from this place of like this deep-seated belief that there are enough resources out there
Okay.
and that new possibilities are like always emerging.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So what this often translates into is a greater willingness to like take risks, obviously thoughtful risks,
Sure,
right?
of course. Yeah.
But also a focus on what could be gained
Okay.
and this really open approach to collaboration and to new ideas.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're not so closed off and
Exactly.
not
Way
go out.
more open, way more like, let's see what we can do with this.
Awesome.
And I think a great example of this is, you see a market downturn or something like that.
Right.
Someone with a scarcity mindset is going to freak out,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
right? But someone with an abundance mindset might actually see that as an opportunity
Oh.
to buy assets at a lower price
Interesting.
because they're thinking long term.
They have that long-term vision.
Exactly. They believe in the recovery. They believe in growth.
That's so cool.
And so that fundamental difference in how they're seeing the world
totally.
really impacts their decisions and their ability to see opportunities that someone else might totally miss.
That's a great point. Now, one thing I noticed in the material that we were looking at is
Yeah.
that, it talks about this mindset, but then it also talks about habits and discipline.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do those two things kind of tie in with this whole abundance versus scarcity thing?
I think habits and discipline are like the way you put the abundance mindset into action.
Okay.
Because you can believe in all the growth and possibilities you want,
Right.
but without those consistent actions, without the
Yeah.
discipline to like actually stick to your goals,
Right.
it's going to be really tough to see any kind of success.
Totally.
So this is about like, actually having a budget and saving regularly
Yeah.
and always being willing to learn new things.
Learn and grow. Yeah.
Exactly. And making those informed investment choices and stuff.
Right.
Because those consistent habits, they kind of like reinforce that underlying belief.
Got it.
That you actually can manage and increase your resources.
I love that. So it's not just enough to have the right mindset.
Right.
You also have to actually back it up.
Exactly. You got to walk the walk.
Yeah. Put in the work.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I thought was really fascinating because the sources that we were looking at actually talked about how for a lot of self-made millionaires, this change in thinking like actually came before the financial success.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like they made a bunch of money and then they were like, oh, now I have an abundance mindset.
Right, right.
It was like the mindset came first and then that led to all these opportunities.
It's like a chicken and the egg thing, but it seems like the mindset is the chicken.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
I like that. Yeah.
It lays the egg of the wealth.
It's like it unlocks those opportunities.
Totally.
Because you start to see them differently.
Yeah. And then you actually take action. You're more likely to take action on something.
Because you believe in it.
Because you actually believe it's possible.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and it kind of creates this positive feedback loop.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you start to believe in the possibility of abundance, so then you act in ways that support that.
Right.
And then that creates more abundance, and it just kind of keeps going.
That's awesome.
And I've even seen this in like my own work,
Oh, really?
I was working with this guy once, and he was making a really good salary.
Okay.
But he was constantly stressed about money.
Oh, wow.
And it all stemmed back to this really like deep-seated scarcity mindset.
Interesting.
Like he just always felt like there wasn't enough.
Yeah.
No matter how much he was making. And it wasn't until he really started to like consciously focus on gratitude for what he already had.
Yeah.
And like explore some like small investment opportunities just to dip his toes in the water,
Right.
that his anxiety started to lessen. And ironically enough,
Yeah.
that's when new income streams started to appear for him.
That's so fascinating. So for someone listening right now who's like, man, this abundance thing really resonates with me.
Yeah.
But I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Like, how do I actually start shifting my own thinking?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it kind of raises an important question for you listening.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do right? So like a really practical starting point is just becoming aware of your own thoughts and beliefs about money.
Oh.
Like when you think about money,
Yeah.
where are those thoughts coming from? Are they coming from a place of like fear and scarcity?
Oh, it's a good point.
Or are they coming from a place of possibility?
No, I like that.
And when you notice those limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
that's when you can start to actively challenge them.
Okay.
And a really cool thing to do is actually like seek out information, stories that highlight examples of abundance and growth.
So like almost like surround yourself with like good vibes and success stories and that kind of thing.
Exactly. And then, even just taking like small achievable financial steps and like acknowledging your progress.
Right.
That can start to like reshape your thinking.
Like almost like prove it to yourself.
Totally. Yeah. It's like giving yourself evidence.
Yeah. I love that.
And then importantly, like start actually looking for and evaluating financial opportunities.
Okay.
Even if they feel a little bit outside your comfort zone.
I like that. Be open to new possibilities.
Exactly.
So to kind of wrap things up here, it really sounds like mindset is like the bedrock of wealth.
It really is.
Having that abundance mentality, believing in your own potential, and then backing it up with, consistent habits and self-discipline.
It's a powerful combo.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's not even just about, like, again, the dollars and cents.
Right.
It's about a way of thinking that encourages growth resilience, seeing and creating those opportunities.
Absolutely.
Which really, I think, leaves us with a question for everyone listening.
Yeah.
How could adopting an abundance mindset change how you approach your financial life starting today?
That's the question.
Right. It's the question.
Because remember, wealth isn't just about money. It's fundamentally about mindset.
Love it.
So think about this. What's the very first step, maybe even just a small step, that you could consciously take this week to shift from that scarcity mindset to a slightly more abundant perspective?
I love it.
And it doesn't even have to be about finances. It could be any area of your life.
Yeah,
What's one action that comes to mind?
that's a great question to leave everyone with.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. This has been a really fascinating discussion.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having me.